Hello, I'm Steve. A little about myself. I'm a retired law enforcement officer with 20 years of service. I began my career in the jail, worked the road, and became an investigator. During my career, my training consisted of everything from SWAT to becoming a state certified crime scene technician. I've investigated crimes from thefts to homicides. After retiring and becoming aware of true crime and web sleuths, I started my channel for web sleuths to better understand the perspectives of law enforcement. Not only do we cover true crime, I go out into the field and assist families who have lost loved ones to homicide and their cases are considered cold. Join me as we look and bring attention to these critical cases. Hello, everyone. Glad you're here tonight. Um, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Appreciate you being here. Tonight, we're going to have another video, which as I went across, it popped up there for a second. But anyway, we're going to have another video tonight that we're going to watch. If you're new to the channel, while you're in chat, if you have any questions, throw them in there. And while you're in chat, be mindful and be respectful of families, the mods, and each other. And Mrs. Steve isn't with me tonight. She's down in Florida still. And but she's watching and she's in the background out there somewhere. And we absolutely miss her up here in Georgia right now. So you're just going to have to bear with me as I try to keep the show moving along smoothly. But we want to thank everybody for being here. Of course, this week on my last show, we were talking about the demolition of the 1122 King Road crime scene, and looking at some of the things that might be lost as far as line of sight and visuals. Since then, as I mentioned in that previous show, I was going to do some sound tests, and that's what we're working on tonight. But before we get into the layout of some of the sound tests and everything, this is the case that we're talking about. And of course, if you know anything about this case, any other information involving Madison, Kaylee, Ethan, or Zana, absolutely make sure the proper authorities have that information, because this is something that is moving and going forward, and law enforcement needs to have all the information available to them as it moves through the court system. And so with that in mind, we're going to be talking about some of the sound test layout that I did. I made several recordings, and I did it from several different perspectives. And the reason I did these sound tests is to highlight and to give you a perspective of what is lost with the demolition of this residence. For the fact, just as I was doing these tests and I listened back on them, there's, and if you ever see people testify, and when they're speaking of pictures and actions and things that occur at a residence or on any type of scene, they'll ask the law enforcement officer or a family member or whoever's testifying, is this picture or is this a true and accurate depiction of what occurred? And those two terms, while you think they're pretty specific, there's a lot of leeway in there. What's true and accurate is it just that's what I heard, or is it exactly what I heard? So when you're watching videos and things, is this true and accurate? It may be true up to a certain level, but is it 100% replace the ability to be on the scene at the time and experience everything? And there's a lot of difference, and a big difference in those two perspectives. And that's what we're going to be covering tonight. Like I said, I carried a recorder through 3 different positions. And I went through the same course of actions, followed the flow of as I walked through the residence, completing the same task on each round as I had this recorder in a different position. The first recording that we'll be listening to is that I had it in hand as I went through, and the residents opening doors, walking down hallways, sliding a shower door, turning on the shower, turning on sink, and walking up and down steps, all for the purpose of what it sounded like when it was the recorder was in hand. And then, of course, I set the recorder in a predetermined location in the central part of the of my test area, which is my residence. And while the recorder was in that centralized position, I walked through the residence, completed the same course and the same flow and the same task. And then I took the recorder downstairs and put it in the approximate position of the layout of what would have been at 1122 King Road, as far as where the witness was to where the first two victims in the upstairs, Madison and Kaylee, would have been during their homicide. And so, and I wanted to, like I said, to give you a perspective, and I did different tasks. The final part of it, I did from the witness's standpoint of what we heard up there, from what she thought was someone playing with the dog, to what some of the actions I completed up there. It was just to give you a perspective of that. And I did it in two ways. I did the exact same test from that same positioning of the recorder, with doors open and versus doors closed. And but we'll talk through this, and if you have any questions about this as we go through it, absolutely throw them in there in chat, and I'll get to them and try to answer them the best I can. All right. So with and this is some of the things that I had walking through the residence with the recorder in hand. Of course, these are creepy pictures of from my last show of the creation of this individual that I used a mannequin on. I had the recorder in hand when I turned on the sink, walking up and down steps. Then I had the recorder in a different location. We had the lights flickering. If the power goes off, we'll have to just wait and see if it comes back on. I have the generator, so if we lose power, we're down here in Georgia and we had a lot of rain and wind. So if I lose power, we'll have to wait and just hang with me. When the generators come back on, I'll continue the show. But anyway, we went through this multiple step positioning, and you'll see that as the recording plays, you'll have these slides up there depicting exactly what's going on as we're walking through, and then of some of the actions I took. All right. All right, so let's get that recording going, and I'll just set in the background. I'll stop it every now and then as we go again. All right. You may have to turn your volume up to full level because it's a preset. Okay, but like I said, that was with the recorder in hand, that whole flow. And then, of course, I went and put the recorder in a centralized position in the residence, and then walked the same course of action. And you'll hear certain levels. Although from the upstairs position, you could pretty well hear everything. And that's why the reason I was conducting these tests. All right, let's go to the next part right here. Now that was, like I said, that the recorder was in a stationary position, located in the central part of the residence. Now this last time, I put the recorder downstairs in the approximate general area of where the witness's bedroom would have been, and then of course I walked through the house and completing the same task. Now there will be a period in here where there's absolutely you don't hear anything. You don't hear the shower door. You don't hear the shower. You don't hear the sink, and it's muted as far as hearing the flow of the water or the sliding of the shower door. So let's hear this one. I'm going up the steps after I left the recorder. This is when I'm back in the with the shower water and the sink, and of course it doesn't, the mic isn't able to pick up anything. Okay, now this final section, like I said, you can, as you play it back through the volumes, you can tell from each of the recordings that there's a little bit of difference in the volume at certain points as far as the ability of hearing those actions of walking, opening doors, walking on the steps, turning on water and showers, and even the sliding glass door from my shower. But we know within the residence also that they had a entry point with a sliding door that's different than a shower, but in some aspects very similar. But as we this final section here, I put the a recorder in the position, like I said, of where the witness would have been, and put it through the approximate angle and location of where um, uh, my bedroom is. I went up and completed some tasks, jumping up and down on the floor, jumped up on the bed, jumped up and down. Mrs. Steve, of course, will probably get on to me for doing some of the things, some of my antics. But then I just simply uh, started striking the mattress, uh, whereas replicating sounds that might be something as far as uh, a struggle that you might have of where blows are thrown both ways of thrashings of these violent encounters that I've witnessed in crime scenes I've worked at. And so this here, of course, it starts off with me walking up the steps, going into the bedroom, completing a set of tasks, and then I close the door and complete those tasks again with the door closed. And you'll see that while you can clearly hear both of those demonstrations, those controls, that there is a different level between the two controls. And this is what that is. Okay. Let me. All right. Well, guys, like I said, that was the test. And here at the end, like I said, I went from the witness's perspective, left the recorder there. And if you, I guess, distance wise, from where her door was located, that if you went as the crow flies from where she was standing up to that her bedroom area, you're probably looking at less than 15 feet. And this recorder was in that position of less than probably around 15 feet from where I went up, jumped up and down on the floor, jumped up and down on the bed. And some of those fast padding sounds are simply my open hands as I struck the mattress. And then I repeated it again so that y'all could hear it before and again. And so we'll play it one more time, and then we'll get into the discussing a little bit more. All right, guys. Well, that was we ran through that, and so I'll go through chat and see if we have anything going on. I want to thank all our members for being here and all our subs. Absolutely appreciate y'all's support, and I'll try to go through here and see if there's any questions and stuff. Like I said, the results and the findings, it all boils down to this, guys, is that as I went through this and as I've testified in court throughout my career, attorneys, the prosecution will ask, is this true and accurate? And yes, everything that you, as a law enforcement officer, is the best evidence that you have at that time. And that's what can be brought into the court, is what is the best evidence. And if law enforcement's gone in there and they've done their scans, 3D photographs, recordings, and they have it, that's best evidence now for the fact that we can't go back to the house. So whatever law enforcement has, whatever the prosecution has, that's the best evidence that now exists. And it's not just for these sounds. I mean, things can change in the house when you take furniture out, you take drapes off, you take pictures down. Absolutely, I understand that. The sounds of the house changes, but not all sounds changes. You still have those creaks in the floors of steps that occur. And but some of the things that are lost that matter most is some of the things we covered in the last video. That line of sight, that view of being able to look from the position where the witness says, this is where I was at. This is where it looks like when the offender walked past me. These are the sounds I heard of, I thought someone was playing with a dog. And of those that if a jury was allowed to go back to that residence, they would have experienced something along the lines of how accurate and what does it look like firsthand. They'll never be able to experience that, so we won't have it. And I can tell you from just my test today that if you listen to this, and I encourage you to go back and pay a lot of attention from each of those positions, and none of the recordings are exactly the same. And while they're true and accurate, each one of them is true and accurate of what I tried to do. And as I walked through my house, turned on certain faucets, showers, slid doors, walked, jumped, that yes, those sounds did occur, but they're not. If I had to give you a grade that from my own ear, not what I heard on the mic, what I heard on the mic occurred, but in each incident, even when I had it in hand, is different than what my physical personal experience was. And that's the thing, is that these people will never get to go there and experience that firsthand experience of the sounds and the sights. And like I said, you could argue with the sounds a little bit, but not with the sights. Those things are gone. They would never be able to walk up there on that embankment or in that parking lot or at the neighbors or the driveway or the street and look and see what is the view? What is that firsthand view? Not going to happen. And they're not going to allow anybody to sit on the jury that's ever been there. They're not going to allow someone that says, oh, I went up there pre-trial and experienced that. And I now have an understanding of that. Those people won't be allowed to be on that jury and participate in this trial. And so those things, like I said, they're gone. And I'm saddened by that. And now, do I think that with the loss of the house that we're going to have a loss of the case? No. But we also don't know what is unforeseen at this moment. What will the defense throw out there? What will be the issues that will be brought up in the defense of Kohberger? And like I said, we just won't ever know what the firsthand experience is from them. But like I said, I wanted to do these tests and these controls and tell you that, yes, they're accurate, but to what degree? They're not 100%. And so I got to, let me start my cam back, guys. Let's see, which camera am I at? It kicked me out. Hmm. For some reason, it decided it didn't want my camera. Am I still here? Let me go down here and see. Let's see. Okay. For some reason, my camera, while I was doing this, kicked off. So you just have to bear with me. We're going to have audio only, evidently. And so we'll go with that. But let's go in the chat and see if we got anything going on, guys. All right. Can y'all, hopefully y'all can hear me well. All right. Let's see what's going on in chat. But like I said, I just wanted to get this out here as best I could. And we'll see what's going on here. All right. There's Ruckus in the house. Good to see you, Olivia. We got a bunch of people of my members and people in the house. Thank y'all for being here. Begay says that the testing and the controls is the best part of the true crime. Thank you. Let's see. And Junior put in here, I've got faith the prosecution has this and the House won't be needed. I hope, and I agree. I believe that the prosecution has a great deal of evidence, and will it ever get to court? Don't know, but I anticipate that they have more than enough evidence as we move forward with this. But we'll see, because you never know. Addicat says this case is in the bag all the way. If you look at the probable cause affidavit and all the information included in that, I would absolutely agree. That mannequin is super creepy. Yes, Mrs. Steve's already given me orders that before she comes back home, he will be dismantled. Let's see. Yes, whatever. And like I said, there's certain parts of this video and audio that, as you listen to it, that is extremely loud. Yes, you can absolutely tell. Some of the surprising things is that when you're downstairs, you can pick up certain things that while you listen to it, that's not on the recorder. But then at some points, the recorder picks up things that I didn't anticipate that it would pick up. So. Okay, thank you. Gail Hurd gifted one true web membership. Thank you. And I'm turning on the blue light, but my camera, like I said, has failed us, and it's not doing its job. So I'm flickering the blue light. We'll have to figure out what went wrong with the camera. Sorry about that, guys. And this is a really good question. Wonder if anyone in the house had headphones on. I wear them all the time at home, listening to whatever, so I don't disturb others. And that is a really good point. That if some of the other people were wearing earphones at any time, that they may not have heard critical information at key moments. And your Miranda Lee says this doesn't take into consideration the ability of an individual to hear the disparities between hearing abilities. Correct? It does not. Some people have excellent hearing. Some people have hearing that due to either work or military service or some type of health issue that they can't hear as well. So it will have, even in the jury, and if there's going to be a lot of recordings, and that may be a very key point that will be brought up as they choose a jury um, during voir dire of the jury of what is each person's hearing ability. Yes, not on the first floor, and it's I put it on the level of where the witness that saw the offender uh, walked past, which is in the middle section of the house. Um, and, whenever you're talking about floors, this residence has three different levels. Has the level that's at the lowest point, you had that mid level, and you had the top level. This would be in the mid level of where the witness that saw the offender with the bushy eyebrows walked past her door. And from inside that area is where I positioned the microphone when I placed it down at my lowest in my basement. Oh yes, I went up and down steps. I've walked, I've run, I've jumped, and I've done just about everything you can imagine this week. Mrs. Steve is a saint. You're absolutely correct because she did not know about because, like I said, she's in Florida right now, and so she learned right along with y'all about me jumping on the bed. So I'll have to hear that later. Yes, you can hear something's going on upstairs. Absolutely. Even when I'm just walking around, you can hear that. But the where the shower and bathroom and all of that, which was on past our bedroom, you couldn't hear the water turned on for whatever reason. And but you could hear me jumping, being active in the room, um, striking the mattress covers with my open hand, making those slapping sounds. So, but yes, you could absolutely, even with the door shut or open, you were able to hear both levels of that. Yes, this is another good point. The house is a source limited. I was wondering if anything shook when he was during the assault, when witness thought it was the dog. Um, and that's something that we will never know for the fact that now I can't say that we will never know for the fact that law enforcement, when they went in there and completed their task of whatever evidence that they collected, and all the from the uh, 3D imaging all the way through the sound test, recordings, the photographs, which there are going to be thousands and thousands of images that because you can stop a video at any moment that will allow any image to be brought to the attention of the prosecution or the defense to the jury and to the judge. And but that is a good point because we all know that sometimes that while you're in a certain room, if something happens in another room, something may shake in your room. It could be uh, a, some type of a vase or a mirror or something, or even a lamp sitting on a desk near you that will, at the smallest of movements throughout the house, that when the house shakes, it may rattle. And so we've all seen that. Yes, it's true, Paula. You have very good hearing. Your husband hears nothing. Mrs. Steve tells me that quite often that I never hear anything. I don't know in what context that is. Oh man, Miranda Lee. I love true crime. Well, thanks to Steve, Mrs. Steve, mods, and all my True Crime Web friends for making this an amazing channel and special place to be. Love you. Thank you. And once again, I'm turning on the blue light that you cannot see, but but you can hear. And now you know, which is a key point, and this is a great point, that while visually you know what's going on, you only have you only have your audio to go by, and the senses of your hearing to tell you what's occurring. And so that's a good point that just by chance is now with us. Yes, the technologies and that they have now is far greater than what we had back in my day. And I'm looking forward to the day that the technologies that are currently being used are outdated, and the new technologies are coming along, and then we may not ever have to um, second guess or worry about where technologies is and how we'll be able to view crime scenes. I mean, it's moved. It's so the advancements are so great now from what they used to be. Sound really travels in that house. Well, one of the reasons it really travels right now, we're in the process of moving, and so we, our some of the pictures are gone off the walls, and drapes and things, and so even in that, to back up that things can change in a house. Certain things change, but not everything, and so. But even in your own house, uh, all you do is put your recorder somewhere's in your house and do the exact same thing I did and see what the sounds are. And everyone knows that when you're sitting in certain parts of your house, you can hear certain events occurring throughout the house. And that's what this was based on. And Ronnie, for missing persons, I feel like the ruined it right away when they had the families come get their furniture and belongings. They should have kept everything it was until after trial. I agree, but everybody has different strategies, and that's where we're at right now. Say I moved my furniture around today and it was noisy. Let's see what happened here. Yeah, like I said, the power was flickering, so we may have lost um, the some of the issues here. So if we do lose power or something, guys, like I said, the wind's still up, and I really don't want to lose uh, the show. Um, do you think another possible reason for demolishing the house was because how gruesome it was that it could have led to a biased jury? No, the jury is going to see far worse things. They'll actually be able to see the victim's injuries and the presentation from the coroners and the medical examiner of the injuries. And it would be part of the presentation, both from the prosecution and defense, of what injuries led to the deaths of each of the homicide victims. And so the house itself would be far less than what this jury, and we have to think about that. that if this goes to a jury, that jury will live with something that they will never be able to unsee for the rest of their lives, and it will have an impact on them. And that's part of the system. That's the way our system's set up. But we have to feel for those persons that are involved in a trial that will see such horrible images. Zanetta gave a $5 super sticker. And like I said, once again, we have to go to the audio of hearing the blue light. Best I can do, guys. Sorry about that, guys. We'll get this fixed. That's great to hear to me that y'all learn from these controls and experiments. That's what I want to do. Just open your mind to this perspective, and so that you understand that um, while I absolutely believe in the system of trying to get the best evidence that I can, when I collected this evidence and preparing for a trial, that I took the best photographs I could take. And I tried to figure out anything and everything that when I presented it against a offender, that it was true, accurate, and the best product I could put out there. And while it's true and accurate, just there still is at 100% like seeing it, being able to handle it, seeing it in that 3D world, and hearing it in that 3D world, and it's totally different a little bit. And it's true and accurate, but it's not 100%. CTK, I lost track of time. Glad to be back among the same. I don't know where you've been there, CTK. Oh, me. Paula, you know Mrs. Steve well. Dismantle creepy guy or Mrs. Steve Dismantle. You're 100% correct. Or I'll be plugging holes, and I have no doubt that if Mrs. Steve walked in on creepy guy here, um, I would have to do some repairs to creepy guy and probably to several walls. Jocelyn is always look forward to your test and has been a member for 10 months. And as you can hear, the blue light is going on and off. Mrs. Steve's going, I'm so aggravated with this camera right now. I think I'm confused about is why it took so long for someone to call the police. And now be brought up, and the witnesses, survivors within the house will be asked that question. And could it be due to um, a lot of different things? And we'll find out. And uh, I mean, we could speculate, and a lot of people have speculated. Those grandsons are going to love it if you jump on the bed. Oh yeah. Uh, the oldest, double alt, he absolutely loves to fight all the time, and so and we have to get on to him all the time about jumping on the bed, and I don't know where he learned that. Dumb question. No, it's not dumb. But doesn't drinking dull your sense of hearing? I think the residents were drinking at that. I think any type of intoxication dulls a lot of things, and and messes up your equilibrium and your ability to make accurate and decisions or responsible decisions. And it can just, like I say, cloud so many things of the thoughts process of what we as normal people would think. Imagine if Mr. Steve's neighbor was looking in the window. Yeah, they would probably call law. And Matt, that's absolutely. They wanted to hear to heal. That's what the university said, that it was an issue for their students. Well, there's other ways of dealing with that, and not every student had to walk past that house. There was only, and regardless, I feel for them, but there's other measures that could have been taken, and but the strategy and the decision was made, and the courts didn't stop it, and so we'll just have to see where it goes. I love that name. Just make sure Sergeant Nightmare is put away. Yes, Sergeant Nightmare is going to be disassembled, dismantled. You are correct. Mrs. Steve will become Mrs. Steve's worst nightmare. She does get hostile every now and then. Generally, she gets hostile when I've hurt myself and come in, and she gets upset. Maybe just give a spiffy new background when they move to Florida. I don't know. We may do some other things. Absolutely. Audio blue light. That's it. There we go. True crime. Can you change this up? But can you tell who sent you to Delphi crime scenes? Did you report law enforcement? The uh, by the time I've got them, it was already out there. Contact was made to the law enforcement, and as I, you can ask anyone I've ever worked with that. And one of the reasons I get a lot of emails from other creators and people all the time, that if you go and ask any creator I've worked with, I send them an email out that all information given to me is confidential, and I will not share or create content on that relationship that we build on certain information. And no, I won't be able to share uh, uh, who sent me the images. You did sound experiments. How? Just have to go back to the start. I had a recorder I put in three different positions, from my hand to a stationary centralized location on the same floor. Walked through with it in hand, then put it in the stationary position, and then brought it downstairs and repeated the process of everything that I did from that, just to show you that the exact same actions, that just a few feet perspective can change what you hear continuously. Friend Bergenbach gifted one True Crime Web membership. Here's the audio blue light. Thank you, Brenda. Appreciate your support. I'm just trying to tell you, show the importance that no one will ever be able to experience if there's not the whatever tests were done in the house that night. And the point of this is that the test that I conducted is just that you can never reconstruct that crime scene to be 100%, even if you had the house. But there's a lot of things as far as line of sight that's lost, and even the accuracy of hearing. And we lost what boards creaks, what steps creak, what did the doors sound like as they were open or shut? Did the hinges creak? We'll never know that now. And but that was the point of mine. I'm not trying to say that the test I committed and completed these controls are the 100% or even in the same universe of what possibly could have occurred at that house. I just did this to give you the sense and perspective, and from my own viewpoint of what that knowing how evidence is presented in court and knowing what's true and accurate, that things are lost, and this is something that's lost. And of course, if you want to argue that this is no way is something that of any value, then of course I can't argue with you. And each and every person has their own perspective. Let's see here. Getting down through here, guys. We need a T-shirt with Sergeant Nightmare on them. I'll see. I'll see what Mrs. Steve thinks about that. Oh man. Okay, we got Junior John. Even better, we have shirts with Sergeant Waffles, Sergeant Pancakes, and Sergeant Nightmare. Junior, I love the audio blue light. Only on this channel. That's all we got, guys. Audio blue lights now. Oh man. This is a great question. Viv Keenan, do you think that they might have done some reconstruction in the house to try and anticipate your questions? Absolutely. Um, and it has to be something that represents evidence that's found within that house, and to try to reconstruct every aspect of what um, will find justice in this case. And what tests would they have conducted and why? Yes, I believe that they would have, because they know that the witness is going to be questioned on what sounds she heard, and are those sounds, would she have the ability to hear what she um, reported hearing? And with the other witness who's, for whatever reason, and we don't know uh, if she heard anything, uh, uh, and what did she hear when or did not hear, they would try to answer that question of why someone else may not hear something. So yes, a lot of the investigation is to anticipate how evidence can be attacked. Tyler, did law enforcement do these kinds of tests or even defense or prosecution? Don't know. Have no idea. All right. But yes, I have let's see. Let me remove this, put this back. Yeah, we had, got the creepy guy at the foot of the steps. We got him standing facing away going up the steps. And then we have the individual holding the knife that was in my other show. But anyway, guys, I appreciate everybody um, that's here tonight. And I wanted to create and give this perspective so everybody could understand a little bit of some of my concerns with the loss of the house. And I'll also, it's not that I believe all is lost. I believe that the prosecution has more than enough evidence to see that justice is done. But I do worry about what we don't know and what the prosecution hasn't prepared for. And sometimes those nightmares can come to be and come to realization, and we just have to be very careful. But anyway, I want to thank everyone for being here, and I appreciate y'all being here. Appreciate your support. Appreciate memberships and all the gifts and donations. Y'all guys are awesome. And tomorrow I will be having our members for the commanders and the detectives, and so I'll see y'all then. And I may be on the road Thursday. I just got to decide or see how far along I am in getting some stuff ready to go back down and see Mrs. Steve and everything. But y'all take care out there. Be safe, be careful, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye, guys.